college degree versus certifications, right? Like how much does having a degree help? How much does having a certification help? What is more worth it, right? What are the pros and the cons? Now, one thing I want to get very clear, really just get out of the way to begin with, is that both of these things serve the same purpose in the end, okay? Both of them, the purpose they serve is to get your foot in the door. There's eventually going to come a point in time where you're going to be ready to interview for jobs. And definitely at that point, you're going to want to be armed with the top 10 questions that you need to know to ace a cybersecurity pen testing interview. So check out the description below and you'll find very detailed answers to all these top 10 interview questions and some additional resources to take it one step further. There's a lot of people that apply to these jobs. It's true that there's a huge lack of qualified pen testers, but there are a lot of, pen testers or, aspiring pen testers that are applying to these jobs. And it is a pretty competitive market in terms of the people applying to the jobs, but it's very easy to stand out. And I'll show you just how in a second. But really, one way that you could stand out a little bit, I suppose, is having a college degree or a certification. Now, let's be honest. A lot of people go to college. That's the standard route. So I would say that if I had to say between college degree and certification, certification is better depending on which one you get. Because think about it this way, right? If almost everyone has a college degree, that college degree makes you stand out less, right? It's less noticeable. It's less attention grabbing, right? You're more likely for someone to just, filter you through the system and not even look at your resume with human eyes. Probably not even going to get past the automation, right? In many cases. So that's something to consider, right? Now, a certification, if you have the right one, if you have one of the right ones, there's many potential options. That stands out more because less people have it. And especially if it's a reputable one, that's why I've always been really big on the hands-on type of certifications, because you're hitting multiple points at once. You're getting the certificate itself that signifies to employer, I at least have some level of skill, some level of technical proficiency in this. And then for another thing, it actually helps you gain the skill because it is hands-on. And you don't have to go for OSCP. There's other certifications that are good for this as well. Some people like the eLearn certs and things like that. But I will say, whatever cert you go for, just please, whatever cert you go for it because you want it, right? Don't go for it because you really want this other certification, but you're afraid to attempt it. But with that being said, there's nothing wrong with starting out with a Pentest Plus or Security Plus or something like that. But in terms of what's going to help you the most, consider that more people have Pentest Plus and Security Plus than people that have, say, OSCP or these eLearn certs. So that is something to consider. The whole point, though, understand this. The primary purpose of degrees and certifications is to get your foot in the door for another opportunity. Now, with that being said, I'm going for certifications myself, and I have an amazing job. Why would I do that? Well, for me, what I care about is, for one thing, I enjoy the challenge of going for a certification. But for another thing, I really love going for those certifications that have a lot of technical knowledge, associated with them, because I learn a lot and I just love learning this stuff. There's some of you guys that have bought training from me. I'm buying training from other people and I'm constantly trying to level up. I have mentors and things as well. Now let's get into some of the pros and cons of if you have a degree and no certifications. And then the pros and cons if you have certifications but no degree, because that was another specific question that was asked. Now, what I would say on all of that is that, like I was saying before, if I had to pick one or the other, I would take the certifications because it's going to be more relevant, and I would pair that because it's going to force you. If you go for a hands-on technical certification, it is going to force you to learn some technical skill set. Now, 90% or more of the people that graduate college with a degree in, say, computer science or even cybersecurity, you'd be surprised. Trust me, I know this from personal experience. At least 90 to 95%, I'm probably being generous here, it's probably even higher than that, percentage of people end up graduating and have absolutely zero, I'm not talking about a little bit, but absolute zero technical skill set as a pen tester. Okay? That alone would really make me say go for the certification over the degree if you're in a situation where you have to choose between one or the other. Now, here's the exception, okay? I know that a number of you guys that watch this channel are in college right now. You know, if you are, I would say if you're anything beyond like your freshman year in college, just stick to the college because you're already invested, you're already in it, right? Don't use this as an excuse if you're feeling lazy to drop out of school. You know, hold true to that commitment, right? Hold true to your commitments in general. I think that will help you a lot as just like a life lesson, a life skill. Become a finisher. Become someone who, you know, sets out to finish the things you start. Don't leave things unfinished. So if you're already going down that path, just go ahead and see it through to the end. And just know that the fact that you're watching this channel, it already tells me so much, right? The fact that you found this content, you're on my email list, you probably are seeking out other bits of knowledge out there on pen testing on the internet. How else would you have found me, right? So that tells me something very important about you. That tells me that you are someone that is not like that 90 to 95% of people that I was just describing. You are someone who's going out and learning this technical skill set on your own time. And there's a brief personal story. When I was going to college myself in studying cybersecurity and I was majoring in, I was specializing as much as the degree allowed me to into the pen testing side, the offensive security side. I will honestly tell you, 95% of what I learned about pen testing that I use today was learned outside of the classroom, hands down. And I'm sure a lot of people that are in college right now, if you are going for a similar degree, you could probably attest to this as well. If you want to chime in the comments, feel free to. But yeah, just so you guys know. And I also went to grad school for a couple of years. Let me just tell you, I learned nothing about pen testing there either. Actually, one time we got to add some users to an active domain directory and perform a cross-site request forgery attack, but that was it. That was the most technical thing that we did. That was it. One time, one lab, one assignment in all the classes that I took. And I'll make a video about this later on, but that was part of the reason that even though I had a 4.0 in my grad school program, after 2 years, I decided to drop out because it just wasn't worth it. And I decided, you know, I don't want to be in management. I love what I do on the offensive side. And I really hope that once you guys get in here, you'll see what I'm talking about and you'll probably understand where I'm coming from and understand why I do what I do. I don't want to do anything else. All I want to do is hack the world. Let's go. Legally, of course. That's why I'm a red teamer. That's why I'm a pen tester, right? But I hope I can share that joy with you guys as well. But that's what I would say the pros and cons. But if you're going that traditional route and you're learning this stuff on the side, that degree will help you get your foot in the door. And you pair that maybe with, it's up to you. If you have the degree, I would say it's up to you whether you get certifications or not. Either way, you got to learn how to market yourself in an interview, right? You have to, even if you are feeling some of that imposter syndrome and stuff like that, you have to learn the interview skills. But as well, you need to actually put yourself out there and face that potential rejection, face that potential failure. Because the reality is anyone that's good at anything, pen testing, interviewing, racquetball, like you name it, like making barbecuing, right? just to get a wide variety here. Anyone that's good at anything has faced a lot of failures. That's the reality of the matter. So if you want to be good at this stuff, if you want to be a professional in the field, then you're going to have to be willing to face that rejection. If you want to be good at interviews, you have to be willing to face that rejection as well. And understand that it doesn't mean you're not good enough. It just means that your performance wasn't what they're looking for then, right? Maybe you weren't qualified enough then. Maybe you were and you psyched yourself out, right? Like how many of you guys before, especially guys in college, have had this experience before? You're taking an exam. You knew the answer. You just got nervous, right? You just got nervous and maybe you even put in the right answer and you bubbled in the right answer and then you went back and changed it because you were unsure of yourself to the wrong answer. I mean, a show of hands, how many times has that happened to, and how many of you guys have had that experience, right? So it's not always that you don't know the answer. It's just that you lack the experience in that environment, and everyone's different. Some people they get more acclimated to it faster than others. But I guarantee you, if you put yourself in that situation 100 times, right? 1,000 times, you're going to be a lot better under that pressure. So with exams, you only get like what, 3 of them, 4 of them in a semester. So that's really high stakes. But understand this, with interviews, you get as many of them as you want, right? You have as many tries as you want to go for this, right? Same thing with these certifications. I mean, barring the monetary cost associated with it, like say if you have your employer paying for it, or maybe they'll only pay a certain amount of tries or whatever. But if you're making a pen tester's salary, right, you have as many tries as you want realistically. If you just win one time, if you get it right one time, you get it and you have it forever, as long as it's not one of those certs that require you to retake it every couple of years. But that's the reality of the matter. So if you took that cert that you're afraid of 1,000 times, you will pass it and you will be better under that pressure. If you want to, we'll go back to the singing in the street. If you want to sing in the street and you're really afraid to do that, you did it 1,000 times. On the 1,001st time, you won't be nearly as nervous under that pressure. You'll be able to deal with that nervousness. So understand that as well.